Welcome to this edition of Buncombe Live. We're up here on the new Buncombe County Parking Deck. We've been talking about this for over a year. Has it been a year? More than a year?
It's been more than a year.
I'm here with John Creighton, Assistant County Manager and Planning Director. We were up on top of the courthouse last time we talked about it, showing them the dirt, and then we showed them where it was being built, and now it's done.
It is.
It is. But what we want you to know is you can use it. It's for citizens and employees. And John, tell us about it. How many parking spaces are on this deck?
We have 657.
657.
Spaces, 7 stories, all handicap accessible on every floor. So we're ready for business.
Yeah, it's really a pretty deck. Easy to use. The elevator talks to you. We noticed that coming up a few minutes ago. But not many people are using it for some reason. If you're coming downtown and you're on College Street, once you pass the Bank of America right across from the courthouse, it turns off to the right. The deck does.
Sure.
And that's where you can come in if you're a citizen. You can enter the deck there. It's $1
an hour.
An hour.
Yeah, $8 a day. Now, I think if you're coming down College Street going towards the roundabout,
right,
you'll have to go around the roundabout and come back up to enter the deck.
Right, if you're in town going out.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, you have to go around the roundabout and come back. And then you go in and out from College Street.
That's right.
And if any of the folks work downtown, they can get this deck monthly.
That's right. There's a monthly rate. If you're using it, say 6 to 6 every day, you can get it for $100. If you want a 24-hour service, it's $125 a month.
Right. But if you're just coming downtown to the courthouse to do the great business that they do over there at the courthouse, or the detention center, or if you're coming to see any of us,
the City Hall, if you're going to go to a question about your water bill or something like that,
that's right.
Park in the deck.
Park in the deck. It's $1. It's a deal.
It is a good deal.
How much did it cost us to build this deck?
$12.5 million.
Oh.
So decks are very expensive,
yeah.
But like I say, we have a very nice facility here.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful deck. So $12.5 million. It is complete. And does the county actually run it, or do we contract out with somebody to run it for us?
No, the county runs the deck, and we have about 330 employees that are parking on the deck on a daily basis. And then the rest of it is either monthly parkers or, like you say, people that want to do business around this end of town.
Now, if I come down here on Saturday and want to park in the deck, is it open?
Sure. It's open 24 hours a day. There's a attendant in the deck, daylight hours, basically 9 to 9, or there's an automatic ticket machine like at the rest of the decks in town. You can go in, pull your card out, and then you can pay either cash or credit card.
Okay, so I don't have to have exact change. I can use a credit card.
Exactly.
That's good. Okay. The deck really is beautiful. It's safe. It's got white ceiling, so at night it's really well lit. Folks need to come down and see it. But I have a question. What is this? What is this here?
This is a green screen. Naturally, during the winter and the deck just opening, we couldn't plant, but we'll bring in planters, and it's part of the trying to make the deck green. So we'll have vegetative matter that will come up and vines that will cover the top of the deck. So
it's really not to keep people from jumping off.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Don't get any ideas. We don't want anybody doing that, but these are not protective.
That's exactly right. And like I say, it's basically make it environmentally friendly. Add some color, vegetation to it.
Okay.
So it's part of the screening on the upper part of the deck.
Well, I can't wait to see that. What kind of planters you're going to put under all these things?
Yeah,
you can come out and see it.
Yeah, they've all been ordered. So the other thing is, you mentioned about the white ceilings. We did try to make the deck as secure and safe as possible. So that we went in, if you like, as you notice coming up, as far as the elevator, it's all glass. It's well lit at night, so try to make it real safe. Didn't have any interior walls. We didn't do any of the shear walls, with what they call them, so you can make the deck viewable from one end to the other. So we really try to make it as safe and secure as possible.
And you did. It's really a beautiful, if a parking deck can be beautiful, it is, and it's very safe. You feel very secure in it, and it's very clean. I know it's new, but it is very clean.
Yeah, and we have a machine that they run through it, so yeah, you're right.
Well, another thing I want you to tell us about, another project going on, is behind us here at the courthouse, built in 1927.
That's correct.
Right, is getting new windows. Tell us about that.
Yeah, this is a project that basically, like I say, it's a very old building, very inefficient as far as the heating system. And one of the main problems is there's the air infiltration that comes in from these old metal windows.
That were painted shut, a lot of them.
Yeah, they rattle during the winter. You can stand in the front of them and your hair blows. So we got into design it's been almost a year now, and hired a contractor about 8 months ago, and had to do initial mock-up. But what we had to do is we got the State Historical Society involved. One had to determine what the original colors of the windows were and what match all the relief in the windows. So we just got our first mock-up about 2 weeks ago. It's at the main entrance of the courthouse over on the plaza side next to the City Hall. And what happens now is in about 3 months we will actually see windows start going into the courthouse.
Now, when you see this window, what is unique about it? It's green.
It's a color, yeah.
Well, why is it green?
That's the original color.
So you mean when they built this in 1927, it had green windows?
It had green windows. If you'll look at that window that's in right now, yeah, it's a dark green, and with the help of the State Historical Society, they determined and scratched around the courthouse that its original color was green.
Was green.
Yeah.
Now, I know that the courthouse cost a lot to build, over $1 million when they built it in 1927. These windows, to replace them, are costing...
It's $1.8 million.
So almost as much as to build the entire courthouse, it's costing us to replace these windows.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
Exactly. We've got over 500 windows in the courthouse, so every one will have to be replaced. Project will happen at night because of the courts and people trying to work in their offices.
Right.
We're going to do the work at night. The contractor is hoping to do 3 to 5 windows replacements a night, and is hoping by the end of the year to have all the windows replaced.
All the windows. That will make a different face on this courthouse.
Oh, without a doubt. When you look at them now, they're beige, and you put in green windows, and like I say, with the R value, does have a tint to the windows. So they'll look different.
I think it'll look good.
I think it will too. And like I say, we're looking at about a 10-year payback as far as saving on energy.
That's what I was going to ask you. Why are we bothering to spend $1 million to put new windows in? It's not just to make it look better.
No, not at all. It's all about energy efficiency and long-term saving money.
Yeah. How is the courthouse heated?
It's heated. There's a boiler in the basement. It's gas heat.
So this should keep that heat.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, that's determining the savings is that value that we get from lower heating costs.
I know in the summertime they put air conditioners in some of those windows. Are they going to continue to do that?
Yeah, the windows will still be operable. They'll operate just like they are now. In fact, they'll raise from the bottom or the top. Yeah. We made the top sash go down for easy cleaning.
So it might actually be better up and down now, which they can't do it.
No, just the bottom sash will open, and like I say, a lot of them are inoperable because of their age.
Okay. Anything else going on you want to tell us about, John?
Well, at this point, those are the two main projects. We're getting ready to start the animal shelter here.
Oh, that'll be exciting.
Yeah, we can talk about that on a different program, but we're getting ready to put that out of the bid, and it'll be open on the 17th.
Okay, we've been waiting on that a long time.
It has been a long time coming.
Yeah. And behind us here, we'll get some footage. Pack Square Park is under, that's what you hear behind us, those folks working over there on Pack Square Park. Someday that may be a reality. I look forward to it.
I think so. I agree with you there.
Okay. Stay tuned. We've got a program coming up next you don't want to miss, so stay tuned.
You may know one of the biggest drug dealers in our community.
This drug dealer is supplying prescription medicine to the kids in our local schools.
Studies show that 1 in 5 teens have experienced prescription drugs. These drugs are the prescription medicine that's in everyone's home.
It can be medicine for pain relief, depression, muscle relaxers, allergies, or simply cough and cold medicines.
There are a few things you can do to keep these drugs out of kids' hands. Monitor your medicine. Count the pills on a regular basis.
Don't keep the medicines where teens can find them. Keep them in a controlled area. Please be responsible for your prescription medicines.
And help keep them out of our schools.
Welcome back. What we've heard so far this year in these difficult economic times is that this spring and summer, a lot of people are going to be doing gardens. If you've never done one, it's a great opportunity to try it. Whether you want to plow up half your yard, or if you want to do a raised bed garden, or even if you just want to do some plants, some potted plants on your deck, you're going to need a rain barrel. And we did a segment last year where I went out and talked to Linda Blue, and she told me, and she showed me her rain barrel, which you're going to see in just a few minutes. It was so much better than the one I had. I knew that this year, when they started selling them again through Cooperative Extension, I was going to order one. I have just placed my order, and you can too. And that's why we're reviewing this segment. So you can see what these rain barrels are, and then you can order one. Because before March the 27th, you can go to our website, fill out the form, and order your own rain barrel. And they're amazing. They're great, and you need one. And then Linda Blue's going to show you how she uses hers. And if you're going to do a garden, it's essential that you have one. So sit back, relax, watch this segment, and enjoy. And then go out and start your own garden. We are here. I'm here with Linda Blue, Cooperative Extension Agent for Buncombe County. Right? Okay. We're in her beautiful backyard. You can tell that you know about gardening. It's so pretty back here. We're here to talk about rain barrels. If you don't have one, you need one, and Linda's going to tell us why. If you've got one, I've got some tips for you, because I've got one. I'm a new owner, and Linda has already shown me what we're going to show you. I don't really know what I'm doing. Mine's all hooked up wrong, so she's going to show us how to do it right. Linda, thank you for doing this.
Oh, you're welcome.
Okay, now for those who don't have rain barrels yet, and I know there's a lot of people that don't have one, why are these things good? Why should we have one?
Well, rain barrels allow us gardeners to do several things. First of all, after a couple of dry summers, a lot of us have really become aware of how much water we're using or wanting to use in our gardens. So by collecting as much of the natural rainfall as we can for later use, that of course helps us to not use as much of either our municipal water supply or our well water.
Right.
As well as preventing some of the runoff, which causes erosion and water pollution and so forth. So it's a good water conservation measure, as well as, for us gardeners, allowing us to have a little stockpile of extra water to be able to keep some of our plants going between rainfalls.
Yeah, so it's not just for garden, it's for flowers that you grow on your porch or deck, or you can use it anywhere.
You can use it anywhere. I use it to fill my bird baths, for example.
Okay. Also, I've heard, tell me if this is true or a rumor, that rainwater is better for your plants and vegetables than actual water out of the tap.
Well, actually, rainwater does have some minerals, some nutrients in it, and some oxygen in it that you don't find in your municipal water source. And of course, when we're using municipal water, that's also got chlorine and fluoride in it, which isn't the best thing for some of our plants. So it is a more natural water source, of course.
Cool. So it's great to have one. You need to get one. Where can they get one now if they want? Oh, I know Cooperative Extension sold the rain barrels, but I don't think they're doing that anymore.
Right. We have had 2 sales so far. I wouldn't be surprised if we did another truckload sale next spring when people are back in the gardening mode again. A number of the garden centers have them now. They didn't up until this year, but because of public demand, several of the garden centers and Quality Forward has them also.
Okay, so you just look around. You can find them. We're going to show you one so you can see what it looks like. Now, I know there's an issue. When we got our rain barrel, we went and got one. We put it together. We really didn't know what we were doing. People are going to know because they're going to watch us this morning. They're going to know how to do it. But mosquitoes, it came with this strange little piece of wire that we didn't know what it was. That was some kind of mosquito net. What's that for, and how do you keep the mosquitoes out of this thing?
There's sort of 2 different ways of doing rain barrels. One, which most rain barrels have a lid that the water pours out onto the concave lid, and there's a screen in the lid which not only keeps debris out of the barrel but also hopefully keeps mosquitoes out.
Okay.
Some barrels are constructed to where the water flow is piped directly into a hole in the lid, and if that is sealed well enough, again, you should be able to keep mosquitoes out.
Okay.
But anytime you open the lid, for example, the most common way I use my barrel is to take the lid off and just dunk a bucket or a watering can in it and carry the water to where I need it, which of course allows mosquitoes access to the water. So what I do is to use these little, what they call mosquito dunks. This is a natural organic bacteria that only kills mosquito larvae. You can also get this in little granules that's meant to use for water gardens and ponds.
And where do you get this?
Any garden center will have this. Any garden center or home improvement type store. And these kind just float in the water, and you just use a part, like 1/4 of one of these for one rain barrel, or you can use it in bird baths also. Of course, the best thing to do with things like bird baths is just dump them out once a week and hose them out, and then the mosquitoes don't have a chance to multiply in it.
Yeah, but in here you could just put one of those little pieces in the rain barrel, and then that'll kind of keep down that mosquito population, kill those larvae.
Yeah, and the other thing that you want to do is, in between rains, once I've completely drained my barrel, used all the water out of it, I usually dump the barrel over and dump out what little water is left below the spigot in the bottom of the barrel, and hose it out to get any gunk and debris that's built up in there, as well as clean any mosquitoes out. And that way you've got a nice clean barrel to start over again, every month or so.
Okay. And what I want folks to see at home is, this is what we didn't know what to do. You came down off of your gutter here, and you put this little piece, and you've just got it laying here on the top. We actually put ours in, so there's 2 ways to do that.
Right, you can do them either way.
And then it's got an overflow valve on it. I didn't realize you could hook a hose up to that thing. And maybe most people would know that. I didn't. It wasn't obvious to me. But that's what you've done over here, is hooked up a piece of a hose, and you can go like into, you've done here, run it into the yard.
Yeah, what I usually tell people is, when you're hooking it, just take an old piece of garden hose and cut it off to whatever length you need it, and then usually just redirect the overflow right into wherever your downspout was going before you cut off or removed your downspout. Another alternative is to use a longer section of hose and direct that overflow out into your lawn area or into a garden space, or if you're lucky enough to have a water feature like a water garden, retention pond, a water pond or something, you could direct it into your water source also.
And for years when we get a lot of rain, and there are those years, that overflow is really important, because then you're filling up your barrel, but you're not, that water is going as directed, like you said.
Yeah, and the other thing that I did when I constructed my platform, which you always want to put your barrel on a sturdy, level, solid platform, is if you put a level on the top of this barrel, you'll see that mine is tilted very slightly forward, so that when we do get a downpour and this lid actually overflows, the water will overflow off of the front of the barrel and be running away from my house and not up against the foundation of the house.
Exactly. And then what you've done here, the rain barrels come with a little spigot at the bottom, and you can, I guess you could put your watering can or whatever under the spigot if you wanted to, but you've hooked a hose up to it.
Yeah, you can elevate your barrel enough to where you can easily get a bucket or a watering can under it. I find that tap runs a little slow for my patience, so that's why I just dunk a bucket into the top of the barrel and haul my water. But I do run a soaker hose. My barrel is elevated just a few feet above the level of what my garden is, so you don't need much elevation. But you'll see that where I've got my hose hooked up, it's running down into a vegetable bed, and it is enough pressure out of that barrel to run a soaker hose off of it.
I just learned about a soaker hose. We're going to show them at home what that is. Oh, what a neat little thing is that. That's cool. Okay. Now, my question, and this just hit me the other day. I've got my beautiful barrel, and I've been using it, and I'm going to go home and fix it, so it's right now that you've showed me. But what am I going to do when winter comes?
That is a really good question that everybody should think about. Now, I know several people who have rain barrels that they've had for a few years, and they say that all they do is open that tap at the bottom so that water doesn't accumulate in the barrel, and they just leave it and let water run through the barrel. I think it's safer, if you can, to store your barrel for the winter, or you can just simply turn it upside down so that it doesn't collect water like a lot of people do with a bird bath. And then you'll want to reconnect that downspout so that hopefully when you installed your rain barrel, you kept your downspout, so that now for the winter time you can just reconnect that downspout. If you had to saw off your downspout, you can just crimp the lower end of the downspout so you can shove it back up into its original position and put a new screw through it.
Put it back like it was.
Yeah, and basically put it back like it was. Even if it's an inch or two shorter because you have cut it off and reinstalled it, that's not going to hurt anything. It's still going to work.
Right, okay. Well, that's great, because we haven't had very many cold winters lately, but I know we can have. And I don't want my barrel to get all frozen and cracked and
That's kind of the way I think about it too.
Yeah.
I paid good money for this barrel. I don't want to leave it out and let it freeze.
Yeah, I don't want to have to go get another one. So
Yeah.
that's great. So this is a pretty average barrel. How many gallons does this hold?
This is an 80-gallon barrel. You will find barrels available anywhere from 50 gallons up to probably 80 is about the biggest. You might find a 100-gallon barrel.
Okay. And it's coming off your roof. It looks like it would take a long time to fill this up. Not
Well,
so.
that all depends on how big the roof is that's collecting. Consider, for example, that if we get 1 inch of rain, when we eventually get 1 inch of rain,
Yeah.
on 1,000 square feet of roof area, that would collect 625 gallons of water.
1 inch.
1 inch of rain
Oh my gosh.
amounts to over 625 gallons of water, way more than this one
Way more.
rain barrel will collect.
No wonder my little overflow has been overflowing.
Right. Now the
Okay.
roof surface area that drains into the gutter that feeds this downspout is probably 250 to 300 square feet, I estimated.
Okay.
So it takes only about 1/4 of an inch of rain to fill up this 80-gallon barrel.
Wow. That's a lot of water.
Right, and so that's what people actually are really surprised to find when they first install their rain barrels is, depending on the size of roof that's feeding into that gutter, is it often takes only maybe a couple of a tenths of, 2/10 or 3/10 of an inch of rain to fill up that barrel.
Yeah,
and that's why we find people, getting one barrel and deciding, whoa, I need to add another barrel or two because I'm
Yeah.
missing a lot of water.
Or take care of that overflow instead of just leaving
Well,
it.
that's true. That also reminds you that you're going to have overflow that needs to go someplace.
That's right. Is there anything else about the rain barrels folks should know?
Some people do like to connect multiple barrels. Now, I've got 2 barrels that are each under a different downspout because that allows me to collect twice as much water, of course, off of 2 separate roof surfaces. But if you have room for additional barrels, you can connect another barrel, say to this one, for example, by connecting the 2 overflow ports so that when one barrel fills, it will then flow into the next barrel before spilling out of an overflow.
Okay.
Some people like to connect them at the bottom. You can connect your 2 spigots at the bottom if you
Yeah.
want 2 barrels to fill uniformly, for whatever reason. But people do sometimes collect multiple barrels.
Yeah. In a rainy year, I can see how that could happen.
Yes, somebody just talked to me about that the other day. One of our lucky citizens who's had good rainfall recently was having the problem of wanting to collect more than what her 1 barrel
Yeah.
could collect. And then, of course, once you get beyond that, some people are now going to bigger systems, which we call cisterns, where you can collect several hundred to 1,000 gallons of water if you are in a location that you can install a really big collection system, a lot more than you can do with a rain barrel.
Wow, that's something to look into for our folks at home. If one of these little ones interests you, you could get going and get a big system. But I say, start small. It's not as easy as it looks. But you can do it because I can do it. Thank you, Linda, for doing this little segment with us. I hope this helps you. Get a rain barrel if you don't have one. Get it hooked up right if you don't. And then get ready for winter. I hope you enjoyed watching that segment with me and Linda talking about rain barrels at little peak of summer there in the warmth. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope it helps you. I hope you'll get you a rain barrel and be ready when we come into summer so you can have a garden. And I want you to stay tuned next month when we talk to you about ways that Buncombe County can help you through these troubled times. So I'll see you next month.